It's the action point, no relaxing. Straight from off the rails with your host, Mr. Patrick. Show we attack, then defend and react. Calculate the damage, then resolve in a snap. Facts with this here and ember blade, leave no witnesses. I just close the combat chain and we winning this. Listen, this a blaze, we ain't going scar for scar. And I'm feeling like a hero, we ain't going card for card. It's the action point, no relaxing.
Welcome everyone to episode 9 of the Action Point. I'm your host Patrick Shaw, and we're continuing to be dragging some people in and throwing them to the wolves, seeing if they can't get some hot takes or if they'll feel the wrath of Nick Butcher. How the show works: I'm going to ask the panel a series of questions. For each question, they're going to have up to 90 seconds to give me their opinion on the topic. I'll give you a cue when you're getting close, and at 90 seconds, I will cut you off. We'll go around the Imperial Warhorn, and when the last person is finished, we'll have an opportunity for additional comments or rebuttals, and then we'll move on to the next one. I'll give a point to whoever provides the best answer to each question, and the person with the most points at the end will have a couple minutes of a completely open platform. You can say whatever you want for a couple minutes, and that's how we'll wrap things up. How am I deciding points? However I feel like. If your answer is the thing I want to hear, I will give you that point for that. So let's meet today's panel. First, recently taking home the win at Battle Hardened Atlanta. He's a member of Team On Hit and friend of the channel, Taylor Crawford. Taylor, welcome to the Action Point.
Hello.
You know him from his channel 3 Floating. You know him from his casting of the AGE Open Series, and you'll know him from this weekend from his casting of US Nats, Sam O'Byrne. Did I say that right?
Oh, yeah.
Excellent.
Nailed it. Happy to be here.
Thanks for coming on. All right, staying up late with us tonight to join the fun. You can catch his podcast, his competitive play content, and recently his original works of fiction based within the world of Wraith, all over at Steelfer Speaks. Finbar Begley, welcome to the Action Point.
Hey, how we doing?
Excellent. Thanks for coming on short notice and at your time zone. I appreciate it. And of course, the reigning, defending, undisputed champion of hot takes. You can find all things Icelander on her channel on Hit Effect. Welcome back, Rhea Adams.
Hello.
It was a close call. By the skin of her teeth here, you made it, and I couldn't be happier. We are going to get into the first question. DM Armada recently streamed an assessment of the myriad TCGs out in the world today, and Flesh and Blood was in the crushing it spot. Fab is growing and growing, so much so that it's considered by some to be the number 4 in TCGs on the market. Is Flesh and Blood big enough yet to be in a conversation of being in the top 4? Rhea, start us off.
I wish I could say yes. No. If there is a big 4 right now, you know, the ones we all know about, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, sure. One Piece is probably up there just because of its audience size, but Fab really has the potential. I love this game. I think it's doing a great job. It's growing a lot. But these top 4 tops, I think, introduced a lot of complacency among the player base. Like, oh, I'm happy with where Fab is at. This is the moment, and I love Michael Fang's constant messaging. We should, keep pushing those new welcome player events. Take your garbage bulk bin rares, make decks out of them, hand them out to your friends. If we want to be in that top 4 spot, we have to remember to keep striving for that top 4 spot, and maybe we'll get there, but no, we're not there yet.
All right, Taylor.
I'm a believer that we are in the top 4 spot, but there's a good chance that we do lose it to Lorcana over the next 6 months. Mm-hmm. And because just the Disney IP is just going to be so massive and the money behind it is just going to drown out most competition. Even if the game isn't good or fundamentally flawed, the IP sells the game within itself. Look at Pokemon. It plays like Legacy, Magic. So the game doesn't have to be good. The IP has to sell itself. But I do believe that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is on the decline, but also at the same time, One Piece is also destroying it. So over the next year, I do believe that we will see Flesh and Blood fluctuate from 6th to 4th and just follow the ebb and flows of whatever Lorcana wants it, whatever Lorcana is doing. So So it's just kind of depending on Lorcana and Yu-Gi-Oh for us to say that we are a stable 4th or a stable 5th.
That's fair. That's fair. Sam, where does Flesh and Blood stand in the markets?
I think we're playing on a different axis, us here in the Flesh and Blood world. I think if you go and you look at, even just the top games in the sidebar TCG player, other than Magic the Gathering, which came out, 700 years ago, they are all incredibly established, hugely successful IPs. And then it's Flesh and Blood. It's like Lorcana and One Piece and Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh! And Flesh and Blood. And so the fact that we're even having the conversation about a game that was started by fans in New Zealand, I think it doesn't really matter if it's 4, 5, 6, or 3. Like, we've already put ourselves in Flesh and Blood in just a different conversation than pretty much any other game that's been started by people that aren't in a big company or have a massive IP behind them. So, like, I don't really care if it's 4. I kind of feel like we've already won.
I like that. So far, that's the best one on so far. Steelfair, where's Flesh and Blood?
So I come at this from the view of someone who's played and watched many, many card games die at the gaming since I was 11, and I've played a lot of the off-beaten track TCGs and LCGs and things like that. And I firmly am of the opinion that no game of any size, once you get to Magic and things like that, it's a completely different axis, right? But once you get past MTG, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon to the rest of the market, the top 4, 6, 7, 8, 2 or 3 sets, bad sets of design, 2 or 3 sets where the casuals stop showing up weekly to play in armories is all it takes to kill a game. So I really do agree with this idea of complacency. Fab needs to appeal to casual players who are currently being drawn away by Lorcana, One Piece, Digimon, all these other IPs they really like. And we need this UPF box to be good. We need PvE to show up. We need people to have a reason to not show up and be sweaty every week with all of their legendaries when a new player shows up and kicks their ass, like, every time. And, someone said, Lorcana, maybe it's fundamentally flawed. Maybe it is, but if people are playing competitively, it shows its flaws. If people are playing it casually, they get to sing songs. I was at an armory that was co-hosted with Lorcana tonight. People were singing as they were playing cards and having a great time. Meanwhile, in Fab, we were drafting Monarch and complaining about Levia. And, it's just what vibe are we trying to get that gets people into the game, right? That's where the risk comes in, right? That's where we can't be complacent.
Absolutely. I think one of the more heartbreaking things, I feel like a Flesh and Blood community lives in a bubble a bit, and then it always kind of gets burst when it's like Commander night on the same night, and it's like, all right, we got 6 guys. Someone's gonna get the cold foil. This is great. Those 40 Commander players, they're off in their own world there. All right, let's move right along to the next question. Fabrary and Talishar has given us unprecedented access to the game of Flesh and Blood and its statistics. The competitive community, though, has a lot to say about the veracity of Talishar as a testing tool. My question to you guys is, do Talishar games count as like a viable test game? We'll start with Taylor.
I believe that they do. Recently, I won the Battle Hardened Atlanta, and I would say 95% of my games are on Talishar. Now, be it friends or randos, I do believe that just playing the game, seeing the cards, and repeating the process of playing the cards over and over, no matter what your opponent is doing, is beneficial to your game. Now, is it the best practice? Maybe not. But repetition is practice. Simple as that.
That's fair. Sam?
Pat, how do you describe testing? How do you define it?
A practice with intent with quantifiable results.
Okay, so I think in that case, absolutely. If you're just practicing with an intent, and if the intent is learning how this deck does into like X field, like looking for Dromai, looking for rune blades, then that is intent, and then you can practice X many games for X amount of hours and get really good. Taylor, you just said most of your games were on Talishar. Yuha from the last Pro Tour said that he was like an almost exclusive Talishar grinder. I think there's a lot of hullabaloo over the word testing. And I think like actual testing is done like in a team, and like we're going to play 12 games with this card in the deck, and then 12 games with this card in the deck. And you're able to have a dialogue and a discourse. Does that happen on Talishar against random people? No. But if testing is just practicing for yourself, and you can set like the right parameters for yourself to get better based on the parameters you put in place for yourself, then absolutely. But it just kind of depends on how you define the word.
That's fair. Steelfer, Talishar, testing. What do you got?
If you want to win the Swiss with the latest meta deck, then go on Talishar, play 100 games and grind. If you want to take the top 8 and win the tournament, then you need to be bringing something a bit extra. You need to have a team. You need to be working on the cutting edge of the meta. So I think if you just want to take the latest spice and win, go get your reps. Kind of need to practice in person as well, though, because otherwise you're not going to do the physical things you need to do to add number of people who miss triggers or things because they played 100 games on Talishar, they haven't showed up at the local shop, right? No.
That's true. That's true. Rhea.
True. Yeah.
I think Talishar lets you. I think Talishar games half count. I think they let you practice your deck's game plan really well. But because you're playing against random opponents, like if you're playing against friends on Talishar, that's not like random Talishar games, right? In the random Talishar queues, you have to practice your deck's game plan. You cannot vouch for your opponent and how they play in the matchup into you. So I think it works really well for proactive decks like Lexi, which is what we saw Taylor do with the recent Battle Hardened win. I think for reactive decks like Icelander, Talishar games are a lot harder to derive like really useful value from. There is of course value in those repetitions, but it's nothing that like a real game that you know how good your opponent is going to help you, especially as you're trying to learn how to navigate individual matchups.
I think that's fair. One thing that was said to me very recently about this is that I won't be able to beat Michael Fang by testing on Talishar. I need someone with a similar skill set going into that. Look, I don't know what you think you're going to get out of, your friend group or what in Talishar, but you're not going to get Michael Fang esque without testing against Michael Fang. So maybe temper your expectations a little bit unless you know him. All right, moving on to the next one. We're rocking and rolling here. Battle Hardened Atlanta, won by Mr. Taylor Crawford, was the last competition before U.S. Nationals, I think. Opening that season, the 25th, and let's try that again. Battle Hardened Atlanta was the last competition before U.S. Nationals. Nat season opens the 25th of August, and at Battle Hardened, there was a whole lot of Lexi showing up. Lexi seems to be the consensus best deck in the format, but what deck has the best shot of causing an upset, as it were, against Lexi and possibly stealing a tournament and some LL points at US Nats and beyond? Sam, start us off with this one.
Drumline.
Oh.
I think...
You're minus 1 point.
I mean, I think you said unexpected, right? Was anyone expecting Mara to get second place with that deck? That deck was like, everybody was like, oh, Empress. Oh, no way. That's not. All the Dromai players were like, pshaw. Look on the purple, like, would never play Empress. And now all of a sudden, you have these huge players bringing it to tournaments. And when, Mara has been singing the praises all along. So I feel like if you can shore up, it's copium on both sides, right? It's the 90-90 matchup. But I absolutely think people aren't bringing out the spice for Battle Hardened. No. I mean, that win was unbelievable, Taylor. But like, I don't think people were bringing the like, I'm bringing the thing for nationals to Battle Hardened Atlanta, right? They're keeping things a little close to their best. So I don't know what players have been brewing up because they want to bring it to nationals. So I'm gonna say Drumline.
Steelfer, or are people brewing for nationals?
People are definitely brewing for nationals, and I have to say, like, Battle Hardened is a one thing, but if you've discovered the spice and no one is talking about it, you're looking at the Battle Hardened deck list being like, has anyone else figured this out, or is our deck still secret, right? You're telling your team not to show up with it, so I would actually agree with that assessment. In terms of what hero is going to show up, I just think Icelander's going to keep winning, to be honest. I think the players you're seeing winning on Icelander, we've got Rhea here, and I talked to Sam Braben about his deck. They've been playing Icelander for a long time. It's a very reactive play style. They know how to tune their deck and their actual game plan in the game to deal with the decks they're playing against. And because of that, they're in the good position where the aggro decks, the decks leading the meta, they're good, but they're not broken. They got slight bans, slight nerfs, which means Icelander's in a great position to just keep taking them down with the right pairings and the right sort of thing. So my money is still on Icelander. I think she's going to ride the wave to Living Legend, unfortunately. For all the wizard players who will have to play Kano or find someone else, but that's my bet.
Rhea, are you winning nationals on Icelander?
I mean, I would love to. I have no illusions that I'm good enough to do that, but we always have our fingers crossed. I think Sam is on the right track. Correct class, wrong hero. If there is a spicy list to pop up, when the field is half Lexi and Icelander, I think there's a very real world where Herald Prism shows up and just gets to eat those matchups alive all day, all weekend, and just really surprise us with a top 8, if not a win.
What about the Dromas?
You dodge him. You dodge him. Listen, listen. Have you seen Dromai's conversion rate? You dodge them for like 3 rounds, and then you're fine. Like 3 left at the top.
They've beaten each other alive. Yeah, exactly.
The devs said the exact same thing, didn't they? On their talk they did this evening. They were like, actually, Prism might be the spicy move. So,
but they also said that they don't expect to see a lot of Dromais because Dromais are tough for reason.
It is an interesting illusionist like quandary. Taylor, are you winning nationals on Lexi?
No.
Okay.
I'm just gonna call myself out on that one. I'm happy.
Who's stealing? Is there a
done.
deck stealing? Going to be? What is the deck most likely to steal the tournament away?
Yuzuri. I think Yuzuri, if they can figure out the Icelander matchup and have some, like if they have some sideboard tech that I'm unaware of, I haven't looked at the full, everything for Yuzuri, but their Lexi matchup is like 80-20. And if Dromai, if you can get past round 3 and Jim dodge them, I think Yuzuri is a hot pick that honestly I would take if I could play it.
I feel like Yuzuri is this generation's Dash, where no one really respects it, but there's always one in the top 8 somewhere.
I think Dash is this generation's Dash. Let's be clear. Dash just keeps winning callings on accident.
Dash is going for like 2 tier 3 wins a year.
Hey, Dash is good. Trust me.
Dash is good. We got a lot of people on this question saying that they want to dodge Dromais, past round 3. But what happens when the Dromai makes it past round 3, y'all? Then you're screwed. That's what I'm saying. If the Dromai gets
you're not packing poppers.
One Dromai makes it past, right?
I'll be quaking.
And it's going to be Mara. All right, on to the next one. This was a last-minute question, so if some of you haven't read it, then that is okay. But so credit to @Vishra on Twitter. They calculated that there is around 1,100 Living Legend points to be given this Nat season, including the remaining Battle Hardens and Calling Vegas. So internationally, all the nationals coming up. This stems from LSS increased the Living Legend point value, I believe, of nationals of 96 or greater players, and the potential for that happening in places like Japan and potentially Brazil have a greater likelihood of occurrence. So the 3 top heroes in terms of LL points are Briar at 998, Icelander at 762, and Dash rounds out the top 3 at 596. What does the world look like if we lose 1, 2, or even 3 heroes to Living Legend by the end of Nat's season? Steelfer, why don't you start us off?
So, Briar's dead, right? I think we can all agree on that. She just has to win 1 Nats.
We keep saying that. We've been saying that for a while, right?
Yeah, but that's because she's not good, but she's going to go, right? So she's going to go, Icelander's going to go, Dash will be fine, and then it's can Lexi or Bravo do a stupid run all the way to Living Legend. Now, if that happens, the whole meta changes. If we lose Icelander, control players get sad for a while, I think, but then we've no idea what Bright Lights has. The 3 mechs, one of them could easily power the control Dash cards crazily. I really think everything is just predicated on the fact that mech is doing very well now, and we're getting a full mech set in 2 months' time. So even if we lose Icelander and we lose Briar, the meta's probably going to settle in a very similar way. Like Lexi's still going to be probably kicking around, very powerful. Bravo's still going to be kicking around. And then it's just a question of, is there a slightly better control than Icelander or a different type of control coming out of mech? And is there a really good boost aggro coming out of mech that unseats Lexi? And we may end up with 2 mech decks in the top meta, which would be insane, but it's a whole set dedicated to one class. So
the mech
it could
people
happen, right?
The pants are off on the mech people anyways. They're ready for this to go down. Rhea, what does the world look like once you lose your hero here?
So Briar's dead. I agree. I don't want Icelander to be dead. I unfortunately think she will be. And then there's a world where Lexi goes. The stars would have to align. But I just want to point out, like, we've seen since Tales of Aria release, we have seen successive metas where a Aria hero is the top deck in the format. Curio's Briar, straight into Starvo, straight into Oldhim and Icelander, now straight into Lexi. With this last batch of Monarch and Aria heroes LLing, we see a much lower power game and a much more interesting game to play. So in like 3 words, with 3 heroes LLing, we see a lower power game, and I'm excited for it.
The mythical mid-range utopia that I think LSS has been striving for the entire time. Taylor, what does the world look like here post Nat season?
So since the release of Outsiders, I don't think Briar has been as relevant as they would like to be. So I think if Briar's gone, I think the only thing that really happens is Nathan Crawford has to find another hero. And then when we're looking at Icelander going away, I think the game actually gets a little bit faster. It starts speeding up. But then I also feel like Uzuri is in the mix then and takes over that control role of just sitting everyone down and tell them that there is a speed limit. I think if Dash goes away, nothing happens. I've never put a sideboard card in my deck for Dash, and we will never. So until that happens, I'll worry about that when that happens.
Excellent.
We're all going to be running. Can I just say we're all going to be running Mischievous Meeps by this time next year?
Smashing good time.
James Silver,
smashing good time.
Yeah,
and smashing good time, and all the brutes will have Arg Smash in their deck as a 3 of, right? 3 months time, I'm calling it. The item hate has already been printed. There's a reason we got it early. That's all I'm. That's all I'm saying.
That's a very good point. And the Mischievous Meeps is also a good point. It should take Briar over the top, is what it really should do. Sam, what does the world look like with after Nats here?
Well, after Nats, it'll be like a month from now. We'll be moving into fall. Let's see. The world will look like the leaves will be changing colors. It'll be slightly cooler out. But in terms of Flesh and Blood, I think it's interesting. I think I don't know if Icelander has the same kind of like death grip on a format like Oldhim does. Like Oldhim, you really had to have a plan to beat it, or it just beat you. And Icelander, it depends on who's playing the Icelander deck, right? Like you don't just auto lose to Icelander if you don't have a plan. Like that deck requires an enormous amount of skill to pilot well. So I mean, honestly, I think it's mostly about just the types of play patterns that get to be expressed in Flesh and Blood. The amount of interaction that Icelander gets to do beyond, like when Kano has a lot of responding, but it's really just damage, where Icelander is really trying to, impact the flow of the game with the reactionary cards and the instant speed stuff. It's my favorite deck I've ever gotten played. It's supremely fun. So I'm hopeful that those of us that enjoy that kind of interactivity have a way to play it again without it maybe necessarily being as dominant as it has been in just like pretty much a little over a year of game life. But mostly the, weather stuff.
That's fair. I think I would much rather Icelander stay than Lexi become like the dominant ice hero. It's just that is very cancerous in my opinion.
Ice.
Yeah.
All right, hold on.
So if
Icelander LLs, don't we get Hypo back? And amulet?
Yeah,
I don't want Lexi to have hypo.
Yeah.
Nope,
Oh my
I don't want her to
God.
have an amulet.
I mean, maybe.
Oh,
It might just
amulet
keep
is
them
no
down.
block. It's fine.
That also pushed the Lexi's like more fuseless because they didn't have as many good ice cards to fuse with. So like that seemed interesting if they get those back.
That is scary. It's what would stop like if Icelander goes. You think like something like ninjas and the rune blades start kicking up a little bit, but then Ice Lexi just gives you 9 frostbites and ruins everybody's day. Anyways, all right. On to the next one. Speaking of fall, we saw posters just come out recently for the next ProQuest season. It's coming October, November. This feels like it came like out of nowhere, and it is for Pro Tour USA. So, without any specifics, where should we be playing Flesh and Blood in the US of A on the next Pro Tour? And let's start with, I forgot who I started with the last time. I'm gonna say Sam. Start us off with this one.
Now, I would be remiss if I did not speak to the virtues of the greater Los Angeles area, given that it is where I currently reside and is the mecca of much of culture within this here United States of America. You can play Flesh and Blood here 7 nights a week. Our armories push 25. 30 on some nights, and just the amount of excitement that is in the region for this game is pretty huge. I mean, the AGE series that I got to get cut my teeth casting is simply because of demand and excitement out here. And guys, darn it, there ain't a lot of events here on the West Coast, so would be nice. I know we're doing the Vegas, we're doing the Nats. Thank you for Nats, but you know, callings and Pro Tours and the like. Everybody always goes to Vegas, which I get it is money, but. Come on, man. Do you guys want to go to the ocean? We'll play. Talking about the cruise. Play Festival on the beach. Jeez.
There is the warm beach over there. There's a nice temperate breeze on the East Coast as well. Steelfur, where should we be playing Flesh and Blood in the next Pro Tour?
Bro. In January.
My default answer is always Europe, but seeing as how we've stolen worlds, I can't really get away with it this time. So my vote actually is either we go back to New Jersey. I thought that was really good. Where are the other international hubs on the East Coast? Dallas, Fort Worth, Boston. Boston's all right. Yeah, basically anywhere where I can get a budget airline flight from London gets my vote, like Norwegian Air, Finnair. I don't care what the seats are like. Don't need an in-flight snack, but 5 hours, $400. You know, just
I'd even go so far as to say
it.
Providence, Rhode Island has TF Green International Airport. I think I've seen Norwegian skies coming in all the time, and it's a nice low-key airport. Rhea, where should we be playing? Tell me Boston.
I don't know where that is, but I feel like
it's just south
New
of
York
Boston.
is more exciting.
It's like here.
No, I'm still going for New Jersey. I think that's more exciting. It's near New York, you know.
It's a terrible, smelly place.
Y'all are on the right. Y'all are on the right track. So we've had Pro Tour Jersey on the East Coast. We've had Worlds San Jose and Las Vegas on the West Coast. We're seeing calling Dallas Fort Worth in a month or two, I believe. So not East Coast, not West Coast. We're going to the third coast. We're going to Houston, Texas. Huge international hub, not as big as DFW, still pretty big.
Okay.
Reasonably large player community, nice centrally located in the US, and I'm definitely not biased at all because I'm from Texas or anything.
Oh, well then. Houston's good. Houston's warm like LA without the LA people. So, you know, that can definitely.
And great food.
Can I have a cowboy hat and country music?
No,
I mean, we can always arrange that.
Like, you know what?
Okay, good.
Taylor, where should we be playing Flesh and Blood?
I would like a venue about middle of South Dakota, about 5 hours away from the nearest airport. I would love to have a camping trip with the boys. There we go. Simple as that. I want a camping trip. I want to stay in a log cabin then go play Flesh and Blood with everybody. That's where it should be.
Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, something crazy. That would be awesome. You remember Boston? Yeah, but do you remember sitting in the campfire and then go play in the Pro Tour? No, that's where it should be.
This is how to stop all the Europeans from coming and winning your tournaments.
That's even better. That's a win-win.
Yeah, Pablo Pintor, how do you feel about driving on a road trip? Actually, he'd probably do
exactly.
it.
That would be so
that
memorable.
Would exactly be right up his alley. He'd just go into the woods, be happy, play his cards, everyone's smiling.
10 years from now. Yeah, like 10 years from now, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, New Jersey, yeah. But do you remember Lake Ohio or something? Like in the middle of nowhere? Yeah, let's go.
That is
Like, come on.
All right. No one really said Boston. That was the only answer that would have been right for that one. That's okay. All right, we're wrapping it up here. So we have the real hardball questions to send us home here. So I'm told Vegas is a hell of a town, and it's a great place to party. Even if you're not going, if you could spend the weekend in Sin City, what is the number one thing you'd want to do there to really capture the true Vegas experience for yourself? Steelfer, let's start with you.
I've never been to Vegas. I've dodged it despite working in a conference heavy industry. I've never been to Vegas, and I don't know a lot about it, but I hear that it has some really good like music acts and stuff like that. So I'd probably go and see a show like classic Vegas blues or like Sinatra style impersonator or something like that. I think that would be really nice.
That's a respectable answer. I like that.
Yeah, I love Sinatra, so there we go.
Rhea, what are you doing in Vegas? Make you feel happy about being in Vegas.
I'm really excited about this. I've been to the original in Santa Fe. I've never been to Vegas before. I'm ready to go to Meow Wolf. If you've never heard of it, it's this like crazy, almost psychedelic interactive art exhibit.
Okay. All right.
So when I went in Santa Fe, I don't know yet. We'll work that out. Okay. But in Santa Fe, like you walk into this warehouse and it's just like the facade of a house. Okay, what's up with that? You go in, there's secret tunnels and doors, there's puzzles to unlock. It's like,
man, that
interactive adult playground. Coolest thing ever. I'm very excited. It's perfectly weird. Hits that Las Vegas vibe. Go if you haven't been before.
When I hear interactive adult playground, it's not the first thing that comes to mind, but I definitely would, in fact, enjoy that kind of environment. Taylor, how are you going to spend Vegas to make you feel like you really captured Vegas?
To really capture Vegas, it would not be appropriate for the stream, so we're going to go to Sam.
Sheesh.
That's
all
fair.
Right.
Sam, how are you gonna do Vegas?
Now, I could not tell you why this is what came into my head. I've been to Vegas a couple times, but like for my brother's basketball tournament, so very tame. I was 12, so other than the booze, it was a pretty tame trip. But the thing that popped in my head right now would be to do those things where you like jump off a building and like have the bungee cord that has you like kind of boing. And I don't know why in my head associated that with Vegas right now, but I'm certainly not going to do it this weekend, but maybe someday.
I've always been a big fan of the rooftop roller coasters, but the only answer for me is in fact strippers. So Taylor, you gotta say it. It's okay. It's all right. Just remember, the number's probably fake, and it's their job to tell you that they like you. So.
But so the issue is my wife's coming with me, and it was her idea. So I'm just like, I guess we're in it.
Yeah, we could have a whole podcast on how problematic it is to bring your significant other to a strip club. But we're going to not do that. Instead, we are going to declare a winner. And by just a hair, Steelfer, you have won today's episode of The Action Point. So you have an open platform, about 2 minutes. Say whatever's on your mind.
Wow. Yeah, I think we've had a really great sort of chat this evening. I feel like a lot of that sort of initial discussion about where Fab stands in the market is really relevant for people to take away, like in terms of the focus on continuing to grow the game, continuing to get your friends in, finding out how they want to play and interact with the game. If they're not diehard into competitive, just like engaging with them and saying, well, okay, we can play common, or we can play this sort of way, we can play UPF, whatever, just enjoy Fab. Because it is such a fantastically designed game that when people try it, they do get hooked in. Like all of this meta stuff we've talked about is really fascinating. Obviously, if you're getting ready for Nats and you're going to try and win it like loads of people on the podcast. But when the next set comes out, that's all going to rotate. But the evergreen things are having a great event, getting people continuing into the game, just continuing to grow the game. That's really one of the things I really took away from this discussion that I thought was really powerful.
Yeah, I think the good thing about all these is it's like it leaves a lot to. It makes you want to talk more. Well, we can't because we don't have that much time. So I want to thank everybody for coming on, and I'm going to give everybody an opportunity to plug their stuff. And I'll just go in order of what it looks like on my screen. So Rhea, go first. Where can we find you? What are you doing? All that good stuff.
Yeah, you can find me on Hit Effect on YouTube and Twitter. I do all kinds of fab content, a little bit of Talishar streaming, a little bit of edited videos, mostly about Icelander, sometimes about other things like Prism, maybe some Missouri in the future. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Excellent. Taylor, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at HelpMeJace or Taylor Crawford. You can find me on Discord. I'm usually just shit posting in some server somewhere. And that's about it.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Can we find you on Twitter at JaceHelp?
Oh, that was it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know. I just get on there every once in a while, like, oh, cool.
I spent an inordinate amount of time trying to find you specifically on Twitter earlier, and we got there. But I was like, I have Jay's help on the screen. I hope that is correct. All right. Thank you very much. Sam O'Byrne, where can we find you? What are you doing? What are you up to?
I have a YouTube channel with my cousin and my good friend Jacob. It's called 3 Floating. We're trying to put out really fun to watch gameplay content and casting Nats this weekend, and hopefully casting something again in the future, but that's not really up to me.
That is true. Good luck this weekend on the casting front. Champion of Hot Takes, Steelfer, where can we find you? What are you doing?
So I'm Steelfer Speaks on YouTube and on Twitter. I just make videos. I talk about the game, things that go well, things that don't go well. I don't focus on any one hero. I just get on with it. What am I doing at the moment? I'm republishing a hero guide that I had for all the new players, where they're all getting a ranking for each hero in terms of how easy it is to pick up and how rewarding it is to get into. That's a huge project. It's taking up loads of time. I'm also writing a fan fiction, which will be 21 chapters long when I finish it. I'm on chapter 7, so it's slowly tipping away. It's online. You can find it on my YouTube. It will be done eventually, but it's a bit of fun. Right, we're having fun. It's good. That's me. Yeah.
Excellent. And is everyone that's not Steelfer going to be in Vegas for Nationals? All right.
Yeah.
Good luck, everyone, whether you're casting or competing. I'll be rooting for you all. I got a couple locals myself that I am rooting for, but good luck to everyone. And I do, before I close out and do my outro, Steelfer, I do want to shout you out. You are the person who actually kind of saved Flesh and Blood for me, because I started on Levia, and I was about to quit because the hero was horrible, but I picked up your Katsu deck and sideboard guide and put that together when you win your RTN, and that deck put me back on course playing Flesh and Blood. So thank you very much for that deck and that guide.
Everything goes in circles, but yeah, thank you. That was a really fun RTN season. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. You are watching/listening to The Action Point. The Action Point theme was written, produced, and performed by Griff. The podcast audio stream is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more streaming platforms. Head over to Twitter or X or whatever the hell it's called at Off the Rails TCG and click the follow button. Then hop over to YouTube, also at Off the Rails TCG, and be sure to like, subscribe, click the bell notification to find out when the latest video content is dropping. OTR also has a Discord. Click the invite and the link below and be some of the first people to see the newest content from the channel and talk with all my friends and I about all things Flesh and Blood and more. And that's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you, everybody, once again for coming on. And remember, kids, it's more fun when it's off the rails. Good night.
It's the Action Point, no relaxing. Straight from Off the Rails with your host, Mr. Patrick. Show we attack, then defend and react. Calculate the damage, then resolve in a snap. Facts with this here and Ember Blade, leave no witnesses. I just close the combat chain and we winning this. Listen, this a blaze, we ain't going scar for scar. And I'm feeling like a hero, we ain't going card for card. It's the Action Point, no relax.